Okay, here's my favorite part of this course, animating this SVG. This is where you can get fun and creative. So I'm still in the intro file, and literally all we do is we create keyframes. I can say keyframes, leaf, or plant, or whatever you want, plant. Okay, and I can do from and to. So what do I want to do to this plant? Well, let's kind of mess around. Let's do a transform, translate. I want to move it up and down, so I'm going to do Y. Translate Y 0% all the way to, I don't know, let's try 50%. Okay, and hit save. Okay, and now all we do is, if you remember, when we exported that SVG, it automatically adds the IDs to them. So what we can do is just do plant left, for example. And I can do animation, leaf, 1.5 seconds, and let's do add an ease to it and infinite. Hit save and let's take a look what happens. If anything happens. Okay, nothing happens. Should probably add infinite here and not infinite. So as you can see, small mistakes like this make a big difference. Okay, so there we go. It's kind of going downwards, but I don't want this, so let's do minus here. Hit save, let's see. Now it's going upwards. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. Let's make it smaller, like 30. That's pretty good. And I also want this to kind of alternate. So we can go here and add alternate. Save, and look at that, we are done. So easy. Let's do the other plant, so I can copy and paste this over here and change this to plant right. Hit save, and there we go. Now I don't want these to be synchronized. So what I can do is actually add a small delay to this, 0.5 seconds. There we go. So now it's kind of like this nice wave looking thing. Okay, next up, let's animate the guy. So I'm going to say me. I'm going to grab me. And I'm also going to create a keyframe down here. So for me, I kind of want me to move around. So from left to right. So let's do keyframes. I'm going to do me from to. Let's do transform rotate Z. Let's do minus 20 degrees and let's do to 20 degrees. Let's see how that looks. Okay. And on me, I'm going to add an animation of me. Let's do 1 second. Let's do ease, infinite, alternate. Save. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so you might have this issue of your image kind of animating in a weird way. And what's happening is that we are basically animating it from a certain position. This is from the center here. So it's kind of like moving from the center, right? It's rotating from the center. If we take a look here, this again is kind of rotating from the center like this, all right? But what if I want this point to be stuck here? Well, we need to change the transform origin, okay? And when you change the transform origin, it's gonna animate from this point. So this is kind of gonna not go like this. It's not gonna go like this. It's kind of gonna go like this around, okay? So based on that point, on the bottom point, and this is always gonna be stuck here. The same thing we can do with this guy, all right? We can kind of just move him around like this, and we're gonna put it on the bottom. So we can go back to the code, and we can just change this to transform origin, and we can do bottom and hit save. Now let's take a look. Okay, that's good, but he's kind of too happy. So maybe let's change the degree to something smaller. So let's go here and do maybe, I don't know, something subtle like 5 and here 5. Okay, so that's way better. And you're gonna see the same thing happening with this arrow thing. So let's create another keyframe. I can actually name this, let's do something more logical like clock. Okay, so I'm gonna do at keyframes clock. I'm gonna say from and to. So what I want to do is basically spin it 360 degrees. I'm going to do transform, rotate, Z. I'm going to do from 0 degrees all the way up to 360. So copy this, paste it over here, 360 degrees. Okay, now we go to the arrow thing. I think that's how I named it, clock arrow. Clock arrow. All right, and I'm going to do animation. Let's do, what did I name this? Clock, the clock animation. And let's do 1.5 seconds, infinite, save. Okay, so here we're gonna have two problems. The first problem is that this thing, this arrowhead, is gonna actually animate based on this whole big thing, on this whole big clock. And what we want to do is we want to specify that this should rotate on its own size, because right now it's rotating on the size of this whole clock box. Okay, so even if we change the transform origin to bottom, it's not going to work. Okay, because it's going to rotate around the whole thing here. So the way we can change it is we can go here on the clock arrow and we can do transform box and we can say fill box. So if you ever encounter this issue that your SVG is kind of rotating or moving in the grander scope of things, then it means that it's basically rotating around this whole big SVG clock or whole big object or whatever you have. So if we say fill box and hit save, as you can see now it actually rotates in the same place. Okay, and now as you can see we can kind of change the transform origin on this for it to stay on the bottom, because right now it's set on top. Apparently it starts rotating from the top position. So we can just set it to the bottom. So let's go back here and we can do transform origin and say bottom. Hit save, and now it rotates from the bottom part. Perfect. But I kind of want to make this go around continuously in a linear fashion. So right now, by default, as you can see, it has some sort of easing. The speed kind of changes, and we can change that with not adding ease, but adding linear. All right, if we add linear, the speed is going to maintain itself and it's going to go all the way with the same speed. Perfect. So that's exactly what I want. So take a look how easy it is. We can create all of these awesome animations. It's not even that difficult. It's all about messing around and see what you can achieve. The most important things I want to emphasize are use these transform origin and transform box if you feel like your animation is not behaving the way it is. Okay, so these two properties, make sure to keep in mind and don't forget about them. Or if you do forget about them like me, just know what to look for. Okay, so that's it. Okay, let's move on and make this a bit more mobile friendly.